Hi, I'm Jackie Keenan. In Chicago Business Today, Corona leaves the beach. Corona's advertising has been enticing beer drinkers for 20 years. The silent couple relaxing on an idyllic beach with a Corona close by helped the Mexican beer become the country's top-selling import. But the waves are crashing in on Corona. The beer has endured a 3-year sales decline. In 2009 alone, shipments declined nearly 10%, according to trade publication Beer Marketers Insights. Corona has run into stiff competition from Bud Light Lime and Dos Equis. Dos Equis shipments have increased by 50% since 2006, no doubt helped by its Most Interesting Man in the World campaign. So, Corona is stepping away from the beach. Commercials set to air this April will show drinkers hanging out in the city, mountain, and lakeside settings with the tagline, "Find Your Beach." It might even feature a celebrity cameo. Marketing professor Tim Calkins says it may be time to go in a different direction.
The challenge now is, how do you keep things fresh? How do you keep things interesting? Clearly, the beer business as a whole is not booming right now. Sales are struggling along in that industry. Corona is not having great sales results. And so I think what you now find, and the challenge for a lot of brands becomes, you have a good campaign, how do you then keep it fresh, and when do you make a change?
Crown Imports depends on Corona for 65% of its business, so it badly needs to jumpstart the beer sales. A successful campaign is also crucial for Chicago advertising agency Cramer-Krasselt, which has produced the brand's renowned creative for years, but may be at risk of losing its marquee account if the new ads don't click with drinkers.
For many companies, when results aren't good, one of the first places you turn is to your advertising. And you turn to your advertising agency and you say, we need some better stuff because clearly the business is struggling along. In a way, it's always, it's sort of easy to blame the agency. That's why for an agency, it's a really scary time when a business begins to struggle, because you know that inevitably at the client, people are going to begin looking for things to change, and the agency becomes an easy thing to change.
Cramer-Krasselt CEO Peter Krivkovich says his agency is constantly refreshing Corona's ads and calls the new spots a progression of the attitude of the brand. Crown has declined to say how much they will be spending on advertising for this new campaign, but the company spent $54 million on ads for Corona in 2009, according to Cantor Media. And that's all for this edition of Chicago Business Today. For more on this story, be sure to check out this week's print edition of Crain's or go to chicagobusiness.com. And be sure to also find our podcast on iTunes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.